What key events shaped the Dutton family's fate in the dramatic finale of 1923 Season 1? In the climactic finale of 1923 Season 1, the Dutton family's fate is thrown into chaos by a whirlwind of violence, betrayal, and heartbreak. From the brutal ambush that leaves Jacob Dutton clinging to life, to the harrowing choices Cara must make to keep the ranch running, and Spencer's long, perilous journey home to save his family. Each event pulls the family deeper into a war they didn't start, but must finish. How do these events permanently alter the legacy of the Duttons? And what do they reveal about their unbreakable will to survive? 2. How does the emotional weight of 1923 linger long after the season ends? 1923 doesn't just entertain. It leaves a lasting ache in your chest. The series confronts generational trauma, love tested by distance and death, and the crushing cost of survival in a lawless land. Whether it's Spencer and Alexandra's star-crossed romance or Teonna Rainwater's brutal fight for freedom, the pain and resilience echo beyond the screen. Why do these stories feel so personal, and how do they haunt us long after the credits roll? 3. Which characters faced the most devastating choices during the 8-episode arc? Every major character in 1923 is faced with a moment where they must choose between duty and desire, survival and morality. Cara Dutton must hide her grief to lead. Spencer Dutton must abandon love and comfort for vengeance and loyalty. Teonna is forced to kill to escape injustice, while Alexandra leaves her privileged life behind to chase a love that might destroy her. What do these gut-wrenching choices say about who these characters are and who they might become?
Think Yellowstone is intense? 1923 takes it to a whole new level. In under 10 minutes, we'll break down the heartbreak, the bloodshed, and the epic journeys that define this unforgettable season. From Spencer and Alexandra's globe-spanning love story to Teonna's brutal fight for survival, and the Duttons' war to protect their land. This isn't just a recap, it's a storm of emotions. Major spoilers ahead. But so is the soul of the West. Ready to dive in? Let's begin with the Duttons. Like the original Yellowstone, the core storyline in 1923 is the fierce generational fight to protect the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch. But this time, the battle is set in the unforgiving landscape of the 1920s, under the stewardship of Jacob Dutton and his resolute wife, Cara. The pair inherited the ranch after the tragic deaths of James and Margaret Dutton, the founding Duttons introduced in 1883. The era brings more than just dust and hardship. Cattle face starvation, and grazing land becomes a coveted resource. This desperation sparks conflict between Jacob and a group of Scottish sheep herders, led by Banner Creighton. In an act of defiance, Banner cuts through Dutton fencing and leads his sheep onto Yellowstone land, violating sacred territory. Jacob retaliates harshly, stringing Banner and his men up by the neck, barely giving them a chance to survive. Against the odds, Banner survives. And he doesn't just walk away, he wages war. Filled with vengeance, Banner partners with the ruthless and wealthy Donald Whitfield, a copper baron with enough power and wealth to topple the Duttons. Together, they hatch a plan to seize the land, wealth, and legacy of the Dutton family. This partnership culminates in a devastating ambush. Banner's men open fire on Jacob, his nephew John Dutton Sr., and other family members. John Sr. is killed on the spot. Jacob is gravely wounded and left bedridden for months. Back at the ranch, the wounds are more than physical. Emma, John Sr.'s widow, becomes inconsolable after her husband's death. Though she initially survives the gunfire alongside her son Jack and Jack's fiancée Elizabeth, her grief ultimately overwhelms her, and she takes her own life. The emotional and physical trauma prompts Jacob and Cara to take drastic steps to protect what's left. They help form the Montana Livestock Commission, a body that will set the legal framework for defending their land in a more organized, state-sanctioned way. Meanwhile, across the globe in Africa, Spencer Dutton, the younger brother of the late John Sr., has made a life for himself as a big game hunter. A veteran of the First World War, Spencer seeks distraction from the ghosts of combat by throwing himself into the wild. It's there that he meets Alexandra, a bold and spirited young British woman who has grown tired of the constraints of her upper-class life. She leaves behind her noble fiancé, Arthur Jr., and throws caution to the wind by running away with Spencer. Their love burns bright and fierce, and through their journey, it becomes the emotional heartbeat of the series. As Spencer and Alexandra travel through Africa, surviving beasts and battles alike, letters from Montana begin to arrive. Written by Cara, these desperate messages beg Spencer to return home. His family is under siege, and the Yellowstone legacy is teetering on the edge. Eventually, Alexandra persuades him to stop ignoring the letters. Once he reads the truth about what's happening back home, Spencer resolves to return to Montana and defend his family's name. Their journey becomes a modern-day odyssey, fraught with setbacks and near-death experiences. One such ordeal comes when a tugboat capsizes, leaving them stranded at sea. A distress signal saves them just in time, and they are rescued by a British naval ship. While aboard, Spencer and Alexandra are married by the ship's captain in a quiet but profound ceremony. The captain gives Alexandra a cherished ring from his late wife, and Spencer one from a fallen sailor. It's a touching moment of hope before the storm. They arrive in Italy and book passage to the United States. But fate, as always, has one more cruel twist in store. Alexandra's former fiancé, Arthur Jr., now revealed to be the Earl of Sussex, has also booked passage on the same ship. When he sees them together, tensions explode. A challenge is issued. Arthur demands a duel over Alexandra's honor. Spencer tries to ignore him, but Arthur goads him relentlessly. Eventually, Spencer can no longer walk away. They fight, sabers flashing in a violent dance on the deck. Spencer wins quickly and decisively. But Arthur's pride won't allow defeat. He pulls a pistol in a cowardly attempt to kill Spencer. In a moment of instinct and self-defense, Spencer flings Arthur overboard to his death in the Atlantic's icy grip. Spencer is thrown into the brig, Alexandra confined to her cabin. Only a testimony from her friend Jennifer saves Spencer from criminal charges.
After everything they endured, Spencer and Alexandra are pulled apart at the season's final moment. As the ship sails away, Alexandra clutches one of Cara's letters, her eyes falling on the envelope. Montana is a quiet vow. She will find her way there no matter what. Back in Montana, the situation is just as dire. Donald Whitfield, ever the opportunist, begins mining the land adjacent to Yellowstone. In a move as calculating as it is cruel, he pays off the Duttons' property taxes for the year, meaning if Jacob cannot repay him by year's end, Whitfield will legally own the Yellowstone ranch. It's a checkmate move, backed by the law and devoid of decency. When confronted, Whitfield simply says, "Because I can. I'm a businessman. The word decent doesn't apply to me." With no options for a cattle loan and his health still faltering, Jacob finds himself increasingly powerless. So Cara writes one final plea to Spencer, telling him he is their last hope, the only Dutton who can save their legacy. "You are our only hope," she writes. "You must hurry." But 1923 doesn't only chronicle the Duttons' hardships. It also delves deep into another painful thread of American history, the treatment of Native American children in government and religious boarding schools. We meet Teonna Rainwater, a fierce and brave young woman imprisoned in a Catholic boarding school in North Dakota. There, she is subjected to constant abuse and cultural erasure. She finally snaps, bludgeoning the cruel Sister Mary to death with a pillowcase filled with Bibles and also killing the nun who raped her. Teonna escapes and runs into the Badlands, alone and hunted. A kind soul named Hank Plentyclouds finds her and offers refuge. Hank knows her father, runs his horse, and sends his son, Pete, to find him. As Teonna hides, lawmen and priests continue their relentless pursuit.
Cara is fighting a war with words and letters, and the threat of Donald Whitfield hangs over them all like a coming storm. Season 1 of 1923 ends not with resolution, but with a rallying cry. The land, the family, and the legacy are all under siege. But hope remains in love, in lineage, in letters that cross oceans. The story is far from over. What did you think of 1923 Season 1? Be sure to let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Outsider for more Yellowstone universe updates. Until then, thank you for watching, and we'll see you all very soon.